The email came through at 2:37 in the morning, which I only know because I was awake, sitting at my kitchen table trying to finish a presentation that was due in 6 hours and drinking coffee that had gone cold an hour earlier. My laptop made that soft chime sound it makes when messages arrive, and I almost ignored it the way you ignore most emails that come in the middle of the night, assuming it was spam or automated notifications or it's something that could wait until actual morning. But I glanced at the preview out of habit, that automatic reflex of checking to see if something might be urgent, and I saw my name in the subject line, which made me click before my brain fully registered what I was doing. The subject line said, "Recommendations for Emma's replacement." I stared at that line for maybe 5 full seconds before the words actually assembled into meaning. Emma's replacement. My replacement. Like I was already gone, already a problem that had been solved, already past tense. The email was from my boss, Victoria, to 3 other senior managers, continuing a conversation I had apparently not been part of, and the preview showed enough that I knew immediately this was not something I was supposed to be seeing. I should have closed it, should have pretended I never saw it and dealt with my confusion and anger in the morning, when I could think clearly. But I opened it anyway. Clicked through to read the entire thread, because once you see your own name in a sentence about replacement, you cannot unsee it, cannot pretend you did not notice. The thread went back 4 days, 4 entire days of my boss and her colleagues discussing who should take over my accounts when I left, debating whether they should promote internally or hire externally, weighing the pros and cons of different candidates like I was already a vacancy to be filled, rather than a person currently sitting at her kitchen table at 2:30 in the morning finishing work for a job she apparently no longer had. Except I had not quit, had not been fired, had not received any indication whatsoever that my position was in jeopardy or that anyone was planning my exit. I scrolled through the messages, trying to find the part where this made sense, where there would be some explanation that clarified why they were planning my replacement without telling me. But there was no explanation, just casual professional discussion about logistics and timing, and whether they should wait until after the product launch to make the transition or do it before. Then I found the message that made everything click into place, from Victoria, sent 6 days ago to start this whole thread. She had written that I was not the right long-term fit here, that I was solid tactically but did not have the strategic vision they needed at this level, and that she would rather make the change on their timeline than wait for it to become a performance issue they had to manage. Not the right long-term fit. Doesn't have strategic vision. Make the change on our timeline. I had worked at this company for 4 years. I had brought in 3 of our largest accounts personally. I had mentored 2 junior employees who were now outperforming people who had been there twice as long. My last performance review, delivered by Victoria herself 3 months ago, had been glowing. She had used words like essential and irreplaceable and told me I was on track for a promotion by year end. And now I was reading an email thread where she was calmly planning my exit like I was a mild inconvenience that needed to be managed efficiently. I sat there for a long time, not moving, just staring at the screen while my presentation deadline ticked closer and my coffee got colder. I was not crying. I was not even particularly angry yet. I was just trying to understand how I had misread the situation so completely, how the version of my professional life I had been operating in was apparently fictional. Then I noticed something else. At the bottom of Victoria's initial email, below her signature, there was a line I had almost missed. She had written that they should obviously keep this internal for now, that I was doing good work on the Henderson pitch, and she did not want to distract me before that closed. Keep this internal. Don't distract her. Let her keep working on the pitch that would benefit the company while planning her exit without her knowledge. That was when the anger arrived. Not loud or explosive, just cold and clarifying, because I understood exactly what was happening. They were going to let me finish the Henderson pitch, let me close what would probably be the biggest account of the quarter, and then politely inform me that my services were no longer required. They would get my work and my results, and I would get a severance package and a carefully worded explanation about organizational restructuring. I looked at the presentation I had been working on, the Henderson pitch. 63 slides I had been perfecting for 2 weeks, research and strategy and projections that represented probably 80 hours of my time. Work they were counting on me to deliver in 6 hours so they could use it to land a client I would never get credit for bringing in. I closed the laptop. I did not finish the presentation. Instead, I opened my personal email and started writing. Not to Victoria or HR or anyone at the company, to Marcus Henderson directly, the CEO of the company we were supposed to be pitching to in 6 hours, a man I had met twice at industry events and had spoken to the phone 4 times during the preliminary conversations that led to this pitch meeting. I kept it simple. I told him I wanted to reach out personally before the presentation, that I had recently learned I would not be staying with my current company much longer, and that I wanted to make sure he was aware of that before making any decisions about partnership. I explained that the strategy he would see that day was developed by me, but I would not be the one executing it if he moved forward. I said I thought he deserved to know that when he was evaluating whether this was the right fit for his business. I sent it at 3:42 in the morning. Then I went to bed. My phone started ringing at 7:15. Victoria. I did not answer. She called 3 more times before 8. I let them all go to voicemail. Then I got a text from her asking me to call her immediately, that there was an urgent issue with the Henderson presentation. I texted back that I would not be able to make the meeting, that something came up. 3 dots appeared immediately, showing she was typing. They disappeared, appeared again, disappeared. Finally, a message came through asking if we could talk, if I could come in. I replied that I did not think that was necessary, that I had gotten her email about finding my replacement, and it seemed like she had everything figured out. The dots appeared and stayed there for almost 2 minutes. Then she wrote that the email was confidential, that I was not supposed to see that. I almost laughed. That was her response, not an explanation or an apology or any acknowledgement of what she had been planning, just concern that I had seen something I was not supposed to see. I did not respond. I got dressed, made breakfast, did completely normal Saturday morning things while my phone continued buzzing with increasingly urgent messages from Victoria, and then from HR, and then from one of the other managers who had been on that email thread. The Henderson meeting was scheduled for 10 in the morning. By 10:30, I got an email from Marcus Henderson himself. He thanked me for my honesty and said that after our conversation that morning, he had decided to postpone any partnership discussions with my company. He added that if I was interested in continuing the conversation in a different capacity once my situation was settled, he would be open to that. He said I clearly understood his business better than my colleagues did. I read that email 3 times. Then I forwarded it to Victoria without any additional comment. She called immediately. This time, I answered. Her voice was tight, controlled, but I could hear the panic underneath when she asked what I had done. I told her calmly that I had told him the truth, that I would not be executing any strategy we presented because she was already planning my exit. I said it seemed like information he should have before making a major business decision. Silence on the other end. Then she said, I just cost them a 7-figure account because I was upset about an internal email. I said no, that she had cost herself a 7-figure account by planning to fire someone and then expecting them to deliver their best work while she secretly arranged their replacement. I said I just made sure the client knew what he was actually buying. She told me this was incredibly unprofessional, that I had violated confidentiality, that I had sabotaged a major pitch. I interrupted her and asked what exactly I had done. Had I failed to deliver work she was planning to take credit for and then fire me? Had I refused to help her close an account she would have used to justify my replacement? I told her I had saved us both some time, that she did not have to manage my exit now because I was gone. I hung up before she could respond. The formal termination letter came through email that afternoon, citing unprofessional conduct and violation of company confidentiality policies. They were not offering severance. I had expected that. What I had not expected was the email that arrived 2 hours later from the company's head of legal asking me to sign a non-disparagement agreement in exchange for 3 months' salary. I did not sign it. Instead, I posted a carefully worded update on LinkedIn about my departure, thanking my colleagues and clients and noting that I was excited for new opportunities. I did not mention Victoria, did not mention the email I had seen, just stated facts about my exit and my availability for consulting work. Within 24 hours, I had 7 inquiries from former clients asking if I was available for independent projects. Within a week, I had 3 formal offers from competitors who had been trying to recruit me for months and who suddenly saw an opportunity. Within 3 formal offers from competitors who had been trying to recruit me for months and who suddenly saw an opportunity. Within 2 weeks, Marcus Henderson reached out officially about consulting for his company directly, without my former employer involved at all. And Victoria? I heard through former colleagues that she had been questioned extensively by her own boss about how she managed to lose both a major account and a senior employee in the same weekend. Heard that the other people on that email thread had quietly distanced themselves from the situation, claiming they had only been responding to her requests for input. Heard that she was now being very carefully monitored on all personnel decisions. I did not feel satisfaction exactly, did not feel like I had won something or gotten revenge in any meaningful sense. What I felt was clarity. The understanding that sometimes the best response to being quietly erased is to loudly refuse to cooperate with your own erasure. They had wanted me gone on their timeline, in their way, with their narrative about organizational fit and strategic direction. They had wanted my work and my results right up until the moment I stopped being useful, and then they wanted me gone, without fuss or complication. I gave them something else entirely. I gave them immediate consequences for treating people like replaceable parts. I gave them a public demonstration of what happens when you plan someone's exit while still expecting their loyalty. I gave them exactly what they had earned. And I walked away with my reputation intact, my skills valued, and my calendar full of opportunities with people who actually wanted me there. Not perfect, not neat, not the kind of ending where everyone learns a lesson and relationships are repaired. Just real. Just what happens when you stop pretending that professional courtesy requires you to cooperate with people who have already decided you do not matter.